since 2010, there's been $4 billion invested privately by Nigerians. And this is going to form the foundation for the types of growth that can happen when we have a president that enforces the rule of law and creates transparency and accountability.
Will he be able to do that? Because it's a long way off that at the moment, isn't it, to everybody? I mean, the NPCC needs complete reform, as I think has been acknowledged. He is a former oil minister. He knows the business. You sound very optimistic that he will force something to happen.
I am very optimistic because all he needs to do is enforce laws that are already on the books, such as the Local Content Act. So we're not asking him to reinvent the wheel. Because he's had experience in this industry before, because he's been elected on such a huge mandate, which was centered around the rule of law, we know that he's going to be able to achieve, going to fulfill the expectations that we all have for him.
It's just that, you know, from the outside, it does seem as though what's been happening in the oil industry is almost endemic. And it would need a really, really forceful change. You've got to get people on side, which is a difficult thing to do. How will he do that, do you think?
Well, firstly, let's tackle the perception. I think there is a big difference here between the perception of Nigeria and the reality. The reality of Nigeria is that fantastically executed inauguration ceremony we saw on Friday. The reality is the $4 billion that's been invested. The reality is companies like ours, Ladol, who have invested $450 million privately, building a facility that's going to create 50,000 jobs. So quietly in the background to all the tensions that we've seen happen in Nigeria over the past 6 months, there has been a groundswell of local investment that's formed the foundation of sustained growth.
Do you suspect there'll be a contrast to how the private sector was treated under the previous administration, under this new administration?
I don't think there'll be a contrast. Continuation is a better way of putting it. We had, under the previous administration, more support for indigenous investment than we've ever had in Nigeria's history. But we did have problems with transparency and accountability. And that led to lapses, which led to a huge decrease in private investment towards the end of the administration. Under President Buhari, what we're going to have is an adherence to rule of law, which is going to support those private investments, and it's going to enable foreign investors to access the market because they'll be able to have faith in the fact that we have a transparent system, everybody's obeying the law, and they know exactly where to put their investment because they have companies such as Ladol who they can see have already got skin in the game.
Would you just briefly, just before you go, and it's been great to talk to you, just explain how the Local Content Act, as you were just referring to, is actually going to help this process?
The Local Content Act means that Nigerian facilities will have to be utilized for future projects. We all know that Shell is about to embark on the Bonga Southwest development, which is a multi-billion-dollar investment. Historically, that would have led to maybe 10% domestication, so only 10% of the amount of money Shell invested would have been spent in Nigeria. And most of that would have gone on agency fees. The Local Content Act means that as much of that as possible, a minimum of 50 to 60%, will be spent in Nigeria, creating jobs. What that means for foreign investors is that you know that if you go to Nigeria now, you make an investment, you partner with a qualified Nigerian partner, you're going to be in a prime position to benefit from the billions of dollars that are about to be invested.
Amy Jadesimi, thanks very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.